Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe,
but a multiverse.
Where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next.
Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
And for this episode, we'll be getting into Season 3, Episode 1 of Legends of Tomorrow, called Aruba. As per Wikipedia, in the altered Los Angeles, the Legends encounter Rip, who reveals that he has created the Time Bureau to replace the Council. Bureau agents fix the anachronisms, and Rip disbands the Legends. 6 months later, the Legends are living normal lives, nostalgic for their previous adventures. In Aruba, Mick captures Julius Ceasar and informs Sarah, who takes Ray and Nate in a quest to prove their worth to the Bureau. After delivering the wrong man and being dismissed by Rip, the Legends, joined by Jax and reluctant Stein, steal the Wave Rider and capture the real Ceasar. When Rip demands they deliver Ceasar to the Bureau and let the Bureau fix the anachronism, the Legends choose to return Ceasar to 49 BC themselves. During the return, Ceasar steals Nate's history book and uses his knowledge to conquer the world. The Bureau arrives and seizes the operation. During an excursion to retrieve the book, Agent Sharp is captured, forcing Rip to allow the Legends to fix the anachronism. Rip tells Sharp that the Legends can be useful in neutralizing malice. In Zimbabwe, 1942, a more powerful Amaya attacks a group of poachers who seek to harm her village. Alright, first thoughts on the episode, man. What you got?
The show's making fun of itself, and I like it. I mean, it spends most of the episode, sometimes we screw things up for the better, is the quote. And, that's the theme of this episode, and possibly the theme for this season. I think it's a good direction. Like, they use Rip as just like Captain Lantern Hanger. It's wonderful.
I'm not sure I like the idea. I don't need them to try to justify how shitty the protagonists are. I
think you probably do. I mean, they're the protagonists.
Yeah, but they're awful. They are awful, and they keep making stupid mistakes on the show that, like, aren't even, like, fun stupid mistakes. It's like, they shouldn't be in charge of things. Like, they're not good, man.
They're not good at their job, but that's kind of
They don't learn from their mistakes.
Oh, they do. It's just that...
Do they?
Yeah, but they've... One of the things I liked is, one of my favorite parts of this one was they walk into the training simulator and are all excited that they're seeing like their old missions being performed, and then this class of trainees just blows them out of the water as far as how to actually execute that mission. I kind of like that. Like, the show is specifically pointing out these guys are a bunch of fuck ups. And that's their point. Like, they make a whole there's several mentions of. And I loved Rip's analogy, like something about doing brain surgery with a chainsaw. And then later she mentions, we're going to be this scalpel. And then still later, he's talking to Agent Sharp about, we may need that chainsaw. So to me, instead of season 1 and 2, we were making fun of them for just being terrible at their jobs. Now I like the new direction where they're acknowledging that these people were terrible at their jobs. And we're embracing that. And now we've made Rip, the guy who should be good at his job, actually pretty good at his job and in charge of a bureau. Like, he's doing, I think, what Destiny has called him to do. Like, Rip Hunter should be in charge of something like a time bureau. That makes sense to me. The rest of the team, they're the wild card. But the fact that they even justified at the end of the show where he is the wild card, yeah, of course. Or the team is the wild card. Yeah, it makes sense to me. But now they've written the flaws of season 1 and 2 into the fabric of season 3, which I can get behind.
I mean, after 2 seasons like that, yeah, you probably need to.
I don't think they had
turn it around.
There's no other way to go. I just think they made the right decision on that one. Like, if they'd shown me another premiere where they tried to fix everything and then didn't. I mean, we're just doing the same thing again. At least this way they're embracing their past.
Yeah. It's just frustrating. It's like, like, okay, like Ray and Nate, for instance.
Ray and Nate,
These guys,
as we know them.
Yeah. They've watched so much sci-fi. Why would they leave a book behind in the past? Like, why would they let him grab it from them?
Easily the worst thing that happened.
Like, how many times have we seen that scenario in sci-fi? Just any time travel, anything. Even Star Trek. You don't leave a communicator on a planet that has a developed warp drive. Damn it, man.
Yeah.
You don't leave a book about gangsters on a planet of primitives. You go back and they're all running around and shooting each other.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my least favorite plot devices for the episode. I liked the tone the show's taking, but the actual plot points are still, leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason it's Mick Rory that happens to be on a beach somewhere when Julius Caesar arrives. Now, it's a funny scene, but there's no reason.
It was real dumb, though.
Yeah. I mean, even Mick, even down to, like, whatever land I'll happen upon, I will conquer. Is that a fact? Yeah, okay. Classic Mick, just wants a fight, thinks it sounds fun, fantastic. And let's all take a moment to wonder what the hell happened to that horse, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that horse.
That horse is gone.
They didn't take that horse back.
That was a pretty white horse. I doubt it has any secrets to divulge. I mean, it's Aruba. Hopefully it's just going to be fed carrots by tourists for the rest of its known life, rather than possibly being struck down in a revolution in the Roman ages.
Yeah, I mean, I could have dealt with, some comment in there, like, of all people, why would Julius Caesar stumble across Mick? And then, you have, Rip or somebody say, like, well, because of, how much you guys have time traveled, your, anachronisms are drawn to you, or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, any kind of... They go so far on one occasion to bring up the term, I had to write it down, temporal linguistic dysplasia. That doesn't exist for a damn good reason. That's possibly one of the worst sci-fi explanations I've ever heard. So that doesn't work for me, but at least they addressed it. Whereas it seems really lame, but I like that at least they addressed Rory's interaction with Sarah saying Rory was on a bender when Julius Caesar showed up. At least it made me laugh.
Right.
It doesn't explain anything, but they address, Rory was getting super drunk. And he does. He's half drunk the entire episode.
Yeah. Which, for all I know, he's half drunk
the entire series.
Yeah. Every episode.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Sure. Absolutely.
I kind of loved Rip maybe the most this episode. Possibly because...
Yeah, he was good.
I loved Darvel, and it was just nice to see him back. But I think it was because... Looking at the episode, it feels like they brought him back to reframe the series, and I like what I like what he did with it. If that was his purpose, I like where he's left this.
Well, I don't really feel like he was supposed to be gone. He just had to do that last season of Broadchurch, man. That's all it was.
No, he chose. He made a decision, and I respect it. It's fine. But him coming back, just a couple of lines. Talking to Sarah, I miss the good old days too, Sarah, but using your team to fix anything is like brain surgery with a chainsaw. Makes sense. Later explaining that the legends have never permitted something like logic stop them. Again, that all tracks. And then, like, even in hologram form, I trust you'll use your best judgment. And then Jax, ha! Does he not know us? Like,
it's just not okay, guys.
No, I started to like it at some point. I really did. Like, they all went back into the real world, found stupid jobs, which, by the way, that CEO tech is the dumbest CEO tech ever presented on camera, ever, for anything, ever. While I will give him this, up and down does make more sense intuitively than left and right. Hey, I have technology that can shrink things, and I want to say it's Planck's constant, but it's been too long. We just abandon that. We're fine. I don't know. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen on the show, possibly, is that CEO turning down Ray Palmer's technology. Anyway.
See, that was stupid to me, because I'm like, okay, so the world knows you're alive. The dude, like, I was like, okay, well, maybe he had to, like, change his name or something because he's supposed to be dead or whatever it was.
I know you used
No,
to
the
be
guy.
a big shot.
Yeah. Maybe don't give your company to a woman who runs it to the ground. Why couldn't he just go back to Felicity, or you would think he could be able to get a better job than that? You know what I mean? Like,
No, and
it's Ray
they
Palmer.
obviously are around Star City. Like, you realize the Time Bureau headquarters is in Star City.
Uh-huh.
They're shuffling between the two, which are like a 45-minute drive, it feels like on the show. Maybe a 20-minute train ride. I mean, there are commuters that live in one that go to the other for work.
Yeah.
And even weirder, I'm not complaining about it. It just didn't seem to have a point that Nate is the second most popular hero in Central City.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I enjoyed seeing Wally.
Yeah, so do those criminals. Why would he take off his mask in front of the criminals?
Oh, he just does all the time. He doesn't give a shit.
While Nate is going, thanks, Wally. You know, I'm like,
I just don't think Wally gives a damn.
your
That's
dad
gonna-
is...
Which
Your
tracks
dad
to
is
me,
a
man.
cop.
Wally has always been, not always, but for the most part, Wally has been Wally West, the Flash. Like, he is a known quantity in Central City. Like, when he doesn't always do the dual personality thing. He does the like, yeah, I'm Wally West, the Flash.
Not so far in this show they haven't. In this continuity they haven't, no. And especially
They
since
haven't.
his dad is a freaking cop.
I know they haven't straight outed him, but the fact that he's not, over obsessed at all with keeping his identity, it's fine with me.
Yeah. I don't really understand why, like, well, we have to fund jobs. I'm like, Nate is a historian. He's an historian. That's what he did. I don't understand. Like, why is he can only be a vigilante now?
Oh, he's just doing that thing that was more fun. I sure would. Kidding me?
Well, yeah, I mean, you do that in your off time when you're not being an historian. I don't know.
Well, it's a little bit like the Jax problem. Like, it's hard to do engineering as a study when you've actually been an engineer on a time ship.
Yeah.
I could completely understand that.
Yeah. Still don't know how he became an engineer on a time ship.
That's the storyline of him learning that ship that quickly leaves a lot to be desired. Granted, but him and Nate's problem.
It's probably just temporal knowledge dysplasia.
Yeah, temporal knowledge dysplasia. Yeah, that's what happened. He traveled with the ship so much that his and Gideon's knowledge was displaced.
How much do you like that? How much do you like that exposition from Stein at the beginning? Like, Jefferson, even though you and I have not seen each other, I can still feel.
God, yeah.
Just like, shut up. We still have a psychic link.
I got physically annoyed by that. That was bad. It's hard when you're watching a show and kind of enjoying it, and I was, and then there's a moment like that where you just audibly sigh and go, Jesus Christ. I mean, he's super happy about Lily being preggers, and Stein's gonna hang in there for a minute, but you know damn well, because we know some casting news, that he's not gonna be there forever. So this was like the first seeds. I did like Jax's line about, like, that's all well and good, but what I really want to do is be half of a nuclear powered superhero. It's like, that's the best I've ever heard you express yourself, buddy. That makes complete sense to me.
Yep.
I don't know, I could be this or this or this, but if one of my options is half of a nuclear powered superhero, I think I'd take that up.
Yeah. I like the character of Lily. I think she should replace Stein, but
that actually would be a lot of fun.
Be kind of fun to see have a pregnant legends or a legend, I guess.
Or what if there's some mishap and it's just the actual infant that ends up on the ship?
Oh, it could be cool.
Yeah, Jax just takes care of it, and every now and then I was like, all right, baby, we got work to do, and just like grabs its hand and they turn into Firestorm. And then the whole time he's fighting, you just hear wah in the background.
Well, it's like, okay, maybe Firestorm takes on the appearance of the youngest of the
just
of
flying
the duo.
nuclear powered super baby.
Yes, flying nuclear
with
superpowers.
Jax trying to explain to it how its limbs work.
Oh,
that would be. I mean, you've heard the term nightmare fuel. Imagine the scene where Jax and Stein combine to be Ares/Mars. But imagine that with Jax trying to talk his way into a baby's head. There's a little infant up there throwing fire, and Jax the whole time going, "Baby, it's gonna be okay."
If they don't do that now, I'm gonna be really upset.
I think I'd be upset either way.
The show's already jumped the shark for me. It just has, like, numerous times. I don't know when it was. It may have been when they were actually in the trash compactor with George Lucas. I don't know.
That was one of the good moments for jumping the shark. I don't know. I've already mentioned, like, I like the direction of this episode because if what they're doing is making fun of themselves, which they did numerous times. If that's where they're going to focus things, I can dig it. Yeah. We're a bunch of fuck-ups. Sometimes we get things right. We have a lot of fun on the way. I can deal with that.
By the way, Sherman Smith over on the Facebook page says, I'm wondering why, Legends of Tomorrow, I'm wondering why once a female character is portrayed as bisexual, that most creators tend to focus on her as only a lesbian. White Canary. Well, this episode they did actually, they brought that up. Mm-hmm. She said she slept with a guy and took his key card off of him, so.
Yeah, they did make some promises this season that it wasn't going to be... The meter wouldn't be so tilted towards females.
Yeah, I've wondered that at times myself, but looks like they're addressing that at least here. I think answering the question, I think they just sort of lean on that a little bit to establish character. They lean on like a, sort of the more abnormal part of a character, I guess you would say. Like just something that you don't see in most TV shows. They lean on that a little heavier than actually developing a character. Because it's easier to do that than develop a character, I think. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think people cheat with it sometimes. And the shame is that I think there's a middle ground where you can use male personality types and female personality types in relationships and really have some fun. And I think a lot of writers cheat themselves out of that, where they call a character bisexual and then just have her be a lesbian or have him be a homosexual or be gay. So they could really have a lot of fun with playing the whole field, and some people just I don't know what it is that happens in a writer's room where like you just do lip service to bisexuality, but you don't actually play with all the cards you have at your disposal. I don't know. I think there's a lot more to write if you did it that way, but he's right. People just throw it in there and then don't use all of it. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah. Well, I think what it really is that at the beginning, I mean, aside from what I've already said, at the beginning you introduce a female character, and usually she's, either interested in or with the, main male protagonist. And then at some point you realize like, oh, we got a bunch of straight people on this show. Let's change it up a little bit. And you have to find a way to, make them, oh, well, they're bisexual. And then after that, everybody just wants to write them as gay. I mean, it happened on Buffy. It happened with Willow. Like, once she got with, what was her name? Tara? Is that right?
Tara.
Yeah. She never went back. But, we watched her pine over Xander for, 3 to 4 years?
Yeah.
It was just, it's kind of weird to me. But
don't get me wrong, it happens in real life.
And I think like,
all the time.
Progressively, I think progressively they feel like they're going backwards if they have those characters date men again. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think it's just thought for it. I don't think people are putting that much thought into it. Honestly, don't. I don't think
they're putting thought into it. I think it's a subconscious thing.
I think it's more conscious, and they're not focusing on the right. Let me put it this way: like for someone among the spectrum, it is incredibly common for someone to be straight, have a homosexual relationship, and then that's the rest of their life. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Honest to God, I've seen it the other way around. It's any of these variations, they all happen. But sure. I think what happens with writers sometimes is they get freaking lazy, and they think they have a good storyline where we're going to make this character, we're going to put this character in a same-sex relationship because they think they have a good storyline, or they want to play with it, or they want to use the demographics to their advantage. All right. I mean, you're a writer. That's your job. That's fine. Where I think it gets lazy is when I think sometimes they use the bisexual card that as a placekeeper, or like a valve system, where if they want to, they can go back. They don't have to commit to the story. They can go back. It's fine. And like some of them, I think, I don't know. I like you, because in several examples, you hear the word bisexual, and then like you said, it's never brought up again, and that's what he's bringing up. I just think some of it's lazy is all.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm getting at. If they ever want to, they can go back, but they don't have to, is my point.
Yeah. But, in the case of Sarah, no matter what, it just seems to always be there for her to boast about her conquests or something. Like, that's just that character, where she's just always making some little quip about how she had sex with somebody, if they're not about to tie her up and burn her at the stake for it.
Yeah.
Which, that's still my favorite line in all of Legends, where they're like, "You've corrupted the young women." In my defense, they were happily corrupted.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. The only thing I wish they would do is I support their use of Sarah either way as far as like her sexuality goes, and I like her having conquest. It's fine. It rounds out the character. I just wish they would look at her less weird on screen when they actually mention it. Like, she mentions it this time, and they both stare at her like she's grown a third eye. Like, just to me, would it be so hard for them to just kind of like keep their arms crossed and go like, nice, and move on with their day?
I don't know, like at work or in real life, you have those people in your life who say stuff like that, and most people just, whether they're straight or gay or it doesn't matter. When you like actively boast about something you did sexually the night before or whenever, people look at you like a little bit like, ew. They just do. Like, that's just, we, as a culture, at least here in America, we find sex repugnant. Now, I don't really care, whatever, but, I see it all the time. People are like, yeah, I did this last night. And people are just like, just stare at them like, well, all right.
Why would you
You didn't have to tell me about it. You didn't have to say that.
Yeah.
All right. I assumed you did things with your things.
Yeah. I just, to me, it's a little unrealistic that as many times as they've brought up her, what'd you say, conquests, that
yeah.
At this point,
I say that specifically for Sarah.
Well, and they have the same thing. Like, they talk about Mick in the course of this episode. They talk about how he's compiling STDs, and the rest of the team's like, "Yep, that's our guy." But so for me, like, would it be so weird just to have Sarah mention that she gets a lot too, and
yeah.
Just move on and be like, "Yep, that's our Sarah."
No, it's different because one thing, if Mick had said it, if Mick had boasted about it, had said it to them, to their face, they would have all looked at him like, "Ooh."
That is completely fair.
They totally would have.
And it would have
had. Joking
it also
about
would
him
have had to
behind
do
his
with
back.
how Mick says something, though. Like, if Mick had just
Yes.
been in the exact same dialogue in that elevator, if he had said, she left it over. Well, maybe I took it off her in the morning. Like, yeah, Nate and Ray would have looked at him the same way. I agree.
But if you're making a crack about a friend behind their back, it's suddenly okay.
Oh, there's my boy racking up STDs. I love that dumb bastard.
You broke my nose is my best feature.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, I got two more things to mention, and I'm out of mentions. So I liked Amaya where she is.
Yeah.
That seemed pretty cool. I even liked the grin on her face when like she's back there murdering rapists with spirit animals. Seems like a fine use of one's time.
Uh-huh.
I even like that she kind of grins as the guy is screaming like, "Yep, came after my people, huh? How'd that work out for you?"
Yeah. Now, we had a listener, Artista Omer El Malaya on our Facebook page has just watched the first episode of Legends. It was fine until the end where Amaya fired up her amulet and the apparitions attacked the hunters instead of empowering her. I yelled at the screen. It was really good until the stinger. Yeah, we haven't seen her do that before, but I think that was kind of the point.
See, on the one hand, I agree with him. That, yes, that's not how her power works. It's not even how her power works in the cartoon.
Right.
Or the animated series, I'll say.
Yeah.
But it does make more sense than what it would look like if you just had her kind of embody a gorilla and they did all the CGI of the gorilla around her and then she swung her fist and it was the gorilla that did it instead. Like, that seems, honest to God, it's just more expensive. That seems more expensive.
Well, it's not exactly like, I think it was a purposeful deviation. It's not like they just forgot. It seemed very much like she was a freaking god, man. It's like, she's just throwing her hands up, her eyes are glowing, she's like, laughing maniacally as like you can hear the animal spirits ripping these people apart.
I don't know with laughing maniacally, but there was certainly a glorified smirk.
Yeah, I don't remember.
She was happy with herself.
She was happy.
Which is fine. I feel him on that. Like, that's traditionally not how the character works. I get it. But I think for television and for their budget, it was it's an okay adaptation. If anything bothers me about it, it's that the Vixen animated series isn't strictly informed with it.
Yeah, well, I don't know about all that. I really don't. Maybe you can become a god with that. I don't know.
Yeah, there might be like a kind of another level to it.
I mean, if you look at the if you go back to the Vixen cartoon and you look at who the people she's fighting with their amulets, they seemed a lot closer to what we just saw in Legends. I mean, glowing eyes, throwing their hands up,
Yeah.
Raising the roof,
so to speak.
Destroying things with, their with powers as opposed to just embodying a thing. I don't know. Seems like it could be,
It doesn't sound
next level shit.
Yeah, it doesn't sound impossible by any stretch.
And like I said, it seemed really purposeful, like a very purposeful deviation. So,
yeah,
like, oh shit, what's this about? Not a hey, we forgot how the character works for half a minute, which they do plenty of times. So.
It's not unprecedented within the Arrowverse in general to forget how a character works. God help him, it's happened.
Sure.
Can I bring up one thing that really bothered me?
Sure.
No one was afraid enough of those dinosaurs. Like,
define no one.
No one. No one at any point in that first scene was as afraid of those dinosaurs as I think they should be. There were people jogging away at a speed that does not, to me, say running away from dinosaur. Like,
what I've always told you, man, don't look at the extras.
I swear at one point, one of them ran underneath one's tail. I could swear that's what happened. But yeah, they're like just running across their path and just, yeah, if you really look at the extras, it's very distracting. Like, there's no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. My favorite part is the legends are just kind of strolling down the street. We're not all jogging down the street even. It's a brisk walk, but they're walking down the street. And you can tell they're looking at their surroundings, like that there are dinosaurs around. But my favorite part is they're walking down one street, and in the background you can see one of the dinosaurs kind of walking behind them. I don't know, about 100 yards or so. Maybe less than a block, I'll say. That is a great enough distance, or a small enough distance, that you should really be worried about a Tyrannosaurus Rex behind your ass. And just nothing.
Sure.
Just nothing. No care whatsoever. And then there's the break in the scene, and suddenly they turn the corner, and oh my god, there's one. So they're not afraid enough. And then suddenly, oh my god. And then she can talk to dinosaurs. And then not even Nate turns out. I'm sorry, if I'm Nate, I know the rest of my team is about to be eaten alive, but I'm turning steel. I'm not going down too. I'm not just going to get eaten in solidarity. Like, in honor of the rest of my team, I'm turning steel. I'm gonna break this guy's teeth.
Based on everything we've seen of Nate, he'd be that dumb.
Possibly. But yeah, that first scene, the relaxed nature of dealing with those dinosaurs really bothered me. And they show up, and like Rip shows up, and that's the big thing that happened that day. You walked outside of your ship. There were dinosaurs. I mean, even Ray getting distracted by, the Big Ben, I've always wanted to visit that. Dinosaurs. Motherfucker. Keep your head straight. There are T-Rex running around the city. That whole scene was very distracting for me, sorry.
I hear you, man. That was rough. I mean, it all tracked with me with their personalities, because they're just stupid assholes.
They are. And I like where the show's heading. They're embracing the fact that it's a team full of stupid assholes. By the way, is it the first time we've actually seen like blood drawn in this show. Like when Sarah attacks her ridiculous retail assistant manager, like when she slits his throat, there's blood.
Yeah, but it was a dream.
I mean, I know it was a dream, but I've noticed at times in the show, someone will clearly get run through with a sword, and then you pull the sword back, and it's pristine and clear, like it's never it's never run through someone's viscera.
Yeah.
But I always assumed it was a CW thing where they said, nah, you can't actually have real blood drawn on the show. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I don't get that. That's lame, but whatever.
Oh, sorry. There was one other moment that really bothered me. It was small, but it did annoy me. Like, how classic of a trap is it that you leave the one thing the team comes for so you can ambush them? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times I've seen that. And even Stein brings up, League of Assassins technique. No, I learned that at Shoplift and Beyond, or whatever the hell it is she worked for.
Uh-huh.
That's where she learned that in retail? Really?
I've worked in retail. That's not a thing.
I mean, it's a thing. In big box stores, there are people in security that's their entire job is to do stuff like that and look at the cameras and grab people. It's not unprecedented,
sure.
but
there's that.
But really, out of Sarah's lifetime, that's the thing she drew from.
I just don't think she would have been the person to know about that.
About the security technique.
She wasn't at security. Yeah.
No, I mean, if you put it in character, for her to know about the security techniques of some random store she was working at, that I could dig, because like she would maybe go out of her way to look at that out of boredom.
Yeah.
But for real, out of her box of expertise, and that's the thing you pull out of it, she learned that at retail.
I'm pretty sure the security technique at the Walmart I worked at several years ago was, hey, pass me that donut. Hey, look at that guy. He's trying to take a box out of the store.
Do you care? No.
Hey, hand me another donut.
Yeah. Honestly, I've looked at someone before and thought, yeah, he looks like he's stealing.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at Cheryl's face. Look at her. Like, that box is so big underneath his shirt.
I don't think I've ever actually seen that at all. I have, though, working at a grocery store when I was very young, watched a guy just kind of roll a cart of groceries to the door and keep going, and thought, well, I'm not going to try to stop him. I mean, I'm not exaggerating this. I think I was being paid $4.50 an hour. This was a minute ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to try to stop him for that.
I was at a Walmart with my sister a few years ago, and we were about to leave, and we look up, and this guy's just look the most conspicuous, man. Like, he's just looking around, taking 2 steps, looking around, real exaggerated. Mm-hmm. But he's got a box underneath under his shirt. Very obvious box.
Nice.
And he's just walking. He walks past the greeter, and we can still see him. He's still heading toward the door, and we went and walked up to a cashier and said, "Hey, that guy's stealing something." And she just slowly looks over at him. We all watch him walk out the door. She goes, "Huh, all right."
It's not worth it.
That was
for the most
it.
Part. I did see a guy in a grocery store one time. This is well past my years of working there. Saw one guy whose his pants were just extraordinarily full, like just those really deep pocketed sweatpants you can find.
Uh-huh.
He had his hands in his pants, and they were deep pocketed, but they were wider than they should have been, like MC Hammer wide, but tapered at the bottom, like normal pants. But anyway, I looked at that and thought, well, that doesn't check out. But I was moving on. I didn't care.
Uh-huh.
And then about 5 minutes later, I kind of turned back from heading to the back of the store and go to the front of the store again, and suddenly there were cops there, and he had hidden 2 giant bottles of wine in his pants, and I kind of thought, well, his date night's over. That's not happening now.
Yeah.
Oh, shoplifting tales. I got one more question for you.
All right.
And I'm well and truly, I suppose, out. But obviously, Stein's going to go. Do you suppose he's going to transfer his powers to another person or completely to Jefferson? But, I mean, transfer of powers, right?
I would think if that were possible. I mean, I guess it is possible. They've done it before.
Yeah. They'll find a way. But, I mean, my bet was, because traditionally Firestorm is a 2-person entity, so do you cast someone else, which I haven't actually seen anyone. I mean, the news just recently came out that Victor Garber is going to eventually leave the show, but I haven't seen anything about a recast of any kind. So that's, I guess, the question's still up for debate. Like, do they kind of rework the characters so that Jefferson can do this by himself now, or do we recast somebody or bring in someone else? And
I think
there was already a Jason somewhere back in the canon, but.
Yeah, they did. They actually did Jason Rush and they didn't make him Firestorm. They just talked to him for a minute.
Yeah, and
then moved on, which was annoying, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I care. Like, if it was my choice, I would probably have Stein just abandon it and then kill off Jax.
So just redo the character entirely. Gotcha.
No, we don't need a Firestorm. He's too powerful of a character. They don't even use him half the time. More than half the time. Because he's too powerful of a character.
It is hard to write.
Kill him off.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, speaking of tiny characters, the opposite, obviously, of what you were talking about. I did laugh my ass off at that little book moving across the table.
That was funny.
Just a couple inches, and then Ray, howdy.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's got my problems with it, but the show can be funny, man. That was good.
Yeah. Our buddy Jacob Raspberry messaged us and said he wanted it. He wanted them to just do a spinoff with Rate. I'm gonna do it again. Rate and Nate. Ray and Nate called Super Bros.
I could deal with that, actually.
Was it Super Bros? It wasn't Super Bros. I'm not even reading it. Hold on. It wasn't Super Bros. It was like Time Bros or something. It was.
That's even better.
Like that. Yeah, Time Bros.
Time Bros.
Yeah, which I'd be happy to see them, fall into the time vortex, never to be seen again.
Right.
Ray hasn't been Ray from Arrow Season 3 in a real long time. A real damn long time.
Right. No,
he was sort of goofy, but...
he's goofy, but he's still commanding. I don't know. There are parts of it, but...
I don't know. I don't know that I completely agree. He's just so damn goofy. Anyway, I think that's it. That's all I've got. You good? You ready to move on to Arrow?
Ready to do it. Let's do it.
All right. You can find every free episode at dconscreen.com. That's all of them, folks. Every episode's free. We are in partnership with TV Time, your TV show calendar available on the web, Android, and iOS. We tweet at DC On Screen. You can come like us on Facebook, DC On Screen. We'll be coming right back with the Arrow season premiere Fallout, and until then, keep some DC on your screen. Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52 Week 4. It was performed by me, David Z. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band Future Elevators can be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Eli Ophelders of Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud and can be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We're a proud member of the Giant Size Team Up Network, GiantSizeTeamUp.com. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy and improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.
Are you maladjusted?
O'Reilly! It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.